Hello guys, and welcome to another segment of Haunted Gaming, and today we'll be doing Lavender Town. Now for those of you who don't know, Lavender Town was introduced in Pokemon Red and Green, and is the designated graveyard for deceased Pokemon, and is known for the ghost sightings there. The first edition of these games was released in Japan in February 1996. By the time the games were released in the United States 2 years later, the original music for Lavender Town had been changed. Since the ambience of the town was that of the graveyard, the music was relatively creepy with the player's gaming message board, Serbi, oh god I hate these names, and NintendoWorlds.net discussed this in 2008 and 2009. A remix of the song appeared in early 2010 attempting to intensify the spookiness. Seriously, why can't you guys have easy names to read? I mean, I know I don't, but still. First version of this creepypasta story was uploaded by Payspin on February 21st, 2010. It stated that after the first few days after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan, there were over 100 suicides among children of 10 to 15. During the investigation, the detective concluded that the music played in Lavender Town, thanks to a secret code included in 104 of the original cartridges, was driving children to kill themselves. 3 ghost sprites have been observed in this creepypasta. The white hand sprite, the buried alive sprite, and the ghost animation. Creepypasta goes into detail about these 3 supposed occurrences. The white hand sprite, known in the code as whitehand.gif, this was scripted to appear as a Pokemon on the 3rd floor of Lavender Tower. It is divided into 4 separate animations. An introduction, the cry, the Pokemon releases before its battle, an ideal, and 2 attacks. These attacks are unknown as they are listed as simply Fisted Brutal. Fisted Brutal. While viewing the animation has been proven to be hazardous, few of the frames in the model have been proven to have no adverse effects. The white hand is depicted as a shivered, slightly decayed hand with surprisingly attention to detail. Like a really good detail. Flesh is peeling back from the bone and several tendons dangle realistically out of its wrists. The first attack is a hand balling into a fist and swinging forward. However, the brutal animation is missing several frames. Hand seems to open up and cuts out after a few seconds. It reappears, closed again. No record has been found of the missing frames. The ghost animation, coded as haunting.swf, was intended to be placed in several areas throughout the tower, including in the center of the path of the 2nd floor. However, players cannot interact with it, leaving many to believe that it was intended as a background feature. The ghost animation, as well, must be viewed in individual frames. It is comprised of 59 frames total. However, after extraction, about around half of these frames have been revealed to be standard ghost model used in pocket monsters. Around a quarter of remaining frames are comprised of static and produce a fading effect. However, interspersed with 3 bursts of static are several frames of screaming faces, along with images of skeletal men in cloak. Hypothesized to be the Grim Reaper, of course. And of several killed corpses, the meaning behind these are unknown, though under oath before the Video Game Commission Board lead programmer, can't read his name, don't ask me to say it, Hisashi Sogabi, hope I said that right, testified as to having no knowledge of where these images are surfaced. Out of all the phenomena associated with LTS, this animation is most speculated on in his thesis, Video Games and the Manipulation of the Human Mind. Dr. Jackson Turner argued that these images were intentionally placed in there. Due to the brief time appearing on the screen and the graphic natures of the frames, Turner theorizes that these were meant to subliminally influence players into becoming more frightened by the disturbing surroundings. Often referred to as code, Buryman script, the buried alive model, was to be found in the final story of the Pokemon Tower, and what has now been replaced with the Marowak ghost. According to the scripts assigned to it, the buried alive model was intended to be the boss of the tower. Once reaching the top floor, the following conversation would have taken place. Buried alive. You're here. I'm trapped and I'm lonely. So very lonely. Won't you join me? After this, the battle will be initiated, and once in battle view, the buried alive model appears to be a decaying human corpse attempting to crawl out of the ground. That is such a great sight to think of right now. It has been programmed to have 2 white hands, a Gengar and a Mux, strangely enough. Weird. Protocol for the buried alive's action after it was defeated were not written in the case of the player defeating them. The game would freeze, however, a specific ending was written by an unknown programmer upon losing the battle in this ending. The buried alive was to have stated finally fresh meat, followed by several lines of gibberish. He was to have then dragged a player character into the ground surrounding him. The scene would finish with a typical game over screen, however in the background an image of buried alive character devouring the player was to have been shown. Especially strange are the protocols for after this scene. The cartridge was to download the image to a small internal memory contained in the Game Boy, overriding the title screen that normally accompanied by a Game Boy turning on. Instead, whenever it started, the player would view this image as the sound file was played. The intended purpose of this effect, unlike many other factors leaning towards LTS, is unknown. And for those of you who don't know, Lavender Town, the suicides is what LTS stands for. Now really my thoughts about this is a really, really creepy story. Even though I've heard before that the suicides either never happened or was not involved with this, either way, it's scary to think about. Completely. I don't know where I heard that from though, so I don't know. It could have really happened, I don't know. I forget where I heard it from. If I had the sources, I would have told you guys. Well, that's it for today. Come back for tomorrow for, well, not tomorrow, whenever I upload it again. Come back next time for Sonic.exe and Haunted Gaming. Thanks, subscribe and like, and also comment for suggestions on what I should do next.